Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Macon Music. I'm Amyre Makupson.
And I'm Steve Moretti.
And we have a very special guest with us today that we had in our Oh 'Tis the Season episode that, Steve, you can vouch for me when I say I was down there shooting at the stage and you were up in the crowd.
Yes.
And he hit one note and I turned and looked at you and mouthed, "Oh my God." We're joined today by Charles Davis. Charles, thanks so much for coming.
Hey, y'all are cool, man. I can do this all day. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Good. And Charles was also in our the Christmas Light Show Extravaganza concert
Right.
as well.
Yes.
And he's on our Macon Pops Christmas CD.
Yeah.
And he's performed with Macon Pops a few
Yeah,
times.
man.
So, you know, we had to bring him on because he's
Well,
one
that's
of
not
our
gonna
local
end anytime
treasures.
soon.
No, they can't get rid of me soon enough.
No.
I'm good.
So how did that go for you? Steve and I have talked a lot about the Christmas Light Show because it was so huge, but from your perspective being up there, how was that?
I was, me and Kimberly Kelsey were talking about it. It felt like a Hallmark Christmas movie that night.
It looked like
Because it looked like it.
Yeah.
I
It looked
mean,
like it.
you know, every shade of color of this town, demographic, economical, social, was at that show. The kids dancing in the front, the lights going off behind you while it was absolutely beautiful. One of the best things I've ever had the chance of experiencing in this town.
Yeah, from the musician standpoint too, how is it performing here in Macon in your own town and seeing that kind of hometown crowd out there in front of you?
It's a different thing, man. I think we've talked about it before. The last time we got together, Macon has this history of music that is rich, and any singer, guitar player, piano player, musician in this town feeds off of that a bit. So when this town really likes you, it kind of means something. You could leave Macon and other people like you, but people in this town know music and they know good singers, and they're not going to show up if you're not good. And for the response that everybody got from that show was phenomenal. It was a really, really cool moment for Macon.
Well, I agree, and I think there's still responses happening now. I mean, I get stopped in the grocery store because people just commenting on that concert and what it meant to them, and it was the biggest thing they've seen in Macon.
Yeah.
And I think it'll hopefully help people stop being so self-deprecating on Macon. There's always this, I can't believe this is happening in Macon.
Yeah, no, it's, they have to get downtown. Downtown isn't how it used to be. The stigma of what downtown was still lingers over Macon a bit. And if you ask anyone that came down during the holiday season and ask them about their experience, whether it's with the restaurants or the music or how they were treated downtown, I can guarantee you it's nothing but a glowing response because that's how it is. So it's just, it's a lot of things of the old mentality that Macon kind of needs to shake off.
That always confuses me, having a news background and reporting on crime, but then also being from Detroit. I've never felt unsafe in downtown Macon.
It's, like I said,
It's a good point.
I think it's just for the
people.
longest time people just didn't want to make downtown was dormant for so long, and it
had potential.
Yeah, it had potential, and nobody ever really did anything with it. And now all of a sudden, it has become what it is. And I think some people don't want to see it happen that way. They want it to stay the way it always has.
Right.
So anything that they can say or make up to make people skittish about going down there, unfortunately, they'll do it. But you can't worry about them. You just got to press forward, and there's too much good stuff going on down there for those kind of comments to start.
Well, look at the results. I mean,
exactly.
I met with Brian Nichols yesterday, and I think they're projecting more than double the amount of people attended this year as opposed to last year. Some of the restaurants, when you look at their normal Decembers, if you look from 2 years ago to now, their December's quadrupled.
Yeah.
People ran out of food.
Yeah.
I mean, there were over hour waits to get food. But I went to the light show for the very first time this year. It was right before Christmas because we were traveling, and I couldn't believe how many people were. There were probably 3,000-4,000 people milling around downtown in the cold.
In the cold, in the rain, with jackets on.
Yeah.
The kids were out. It was just, you don't have to drive to Callaway Gardens to go see that now. No. You can just drive downtown.
And it's more special
and
because
get a better experience out of
especially musically. I'm sorry.
It was just, hey, y'all know how to put a band together, don't you?
Well, it helps when we have good people.
Well, Steve touches on this a lot, that Macon has this wonderful music scene, these amazing artists, but getting that traction going and getting the level of community support that's needed has been a little bit slow. Why do you think that is?
I look at it on what happened to me and then what I see outside of it. I got lucky. I happened to be on a radio station that was starting in town, so people could hear me, could see me all the time. I did theater in Macon. That granted me to be in front of some people that got me opportunities to perform and do this, that, and the other. There are so many musicians in this town that can't get that limelight, and for some reason, people have forgotten that that's the way Otis started. Somebody had to put him on somewhere. That's how the Brothers started. Somebody had to put them on somewhere. They were no one before they became who they were. And there are a couple venues in this town that does it, but there's a surplus of musicians, and it's starting to get to the point where some of them are looking at it like, okay, Nashville's right up the road. I can go do that and still have this love for this town where they don't want to leave it because, as you said, there's so much potential of what can be done in this town. And people just need to realize that and kind of loosen the reins a little bit and contribute and support some of these people to see the places that it could take them. Yeah.
Well, with your perspective of working at a radio station, why do you think then that the other local artists aren't getting that platform, I guess, or aren't given the opportunity?
Well, I will say, just like I said, I can say from what I've seen, the 2.5 years I was at that radio station, we had a lot of local artists on, from Magnolia Moon, Denny Hansen, Daniel Graves, the Delta Moan, Maggie Renfro, Savannah Cameron, the Otis Campers. We tried to make sure that those artists got the limelight that they should, but they weren't really getting that anywhere else. Mm-hmm. There wasn't another place that they could go. Black and Mild, the show that me and Anthony hosted, we had guests on every single Friday of just music. Hey, what, you playing somewhere? Come on up, talk about it, play your music. There's not really another place that does that. I get it, radio stations are owned by corporations and things like that, so they gotta make sure that the top 25 gets played, and they don't really have the time or the effort to put towards having these local musicians on. But man, if you hear them and talk to them, you go, why are you still here? Why aren't you doing other things? And it's just because they haven't gotten the opportunity to have the spotlight put on them like it should be.
Yeah, well, and I think hopefully what we're doing with Making Pops, we're able to provide that opportunity too, for when people perform with us. They're getting exposed to. I think the first time we had done that with our Music of Macon show, the comment I got was, I can't believe these people are, I've never heard these people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't believe that. And what I'm hoping now, with between this show and just sort of other aspects that are starting to support that there are more opportunities for people to write, perform, record, and try to sustain, because Macon is an affordable place to live. You can at least support yourself pretty decently performing, and that's been sort of my mission, is to try to get that scene, as you said, the reins loosened, so everyone can collaborate and work together and have opportunities to play. But it's also up to some of these venues to allow that too, that they need to really nurture and foster who we have here. Just because you're from outside doesn't mean you're going to be good.
You're no better than anybody else, and they're itching, Steve. They're itching to get into some of these places. I'll say it, and like I figured I was going to tell the truth today, so about as well. People love playing the Hummingbird. That's great. They like playing. It's a good venue to play. Isbell played there. A lot of people played there. They're itching to get into the Hargrave. Mm-hmm. They're itching to get into the Library Ballroom. They're itching to get into the Centerplex, scratching at the teeth to get into the Coliseum. They want to get into those places because they know, if I can just get in there and let people hear me, then it's up to them. Right. But just let me in the door at least.
Right.
And that's to me is the biggest thing, is the opportunities have to be there for them to show what they can do. If you don't like it once I show you, okay, that's fine. But at least let me show you.
Yeah, provide an opportunity.
Yeah, provide me an opportunity. And like I said, everything I've done with Making Pops has been good because it's put me in the view of different people. And it's allowed me to get in front of people where they like things and they come and see me in different stuff. And that's good, because when everybody's working and everybody's doing good, everybody makes something out of it.
And everybody benefits.
Exactly.
I mean, everyone does. So switching gears, tell us how you got involved in music and where did you start and how did that happen?
Okay. I started from here. My grandmother told my father and my mother when I was born, the day she saw me, she looked at them and told them, he's going to be a singer. And they laughed at her. And she said, no, I'm not joking. He's going to be a singer. And I stopped singing for years. Like years I didn't sing. until I was in the 8th grade at McAvoy, and I was singing underneath my breath, and a girl heard me. And she said, "Sing again." And I went, "Okay." And I sang again, and more girls turned around. And I sang some more,
and you're like,
turned around.
I'm gonna keep doing this.
So I would go up and down the hall singing a little bit in 8th grade, and then I stopped singing again.
He's got this crowd following.
Yeah. And I stopped singing again, and graduated from Central, went to Georgia Southern, came home, started working at Buffalo's on Zebulon Road, and a guy named Pop, rest in peace, heard me singing back. I was cutting up tomatoes or something, and heard me singing to the radio and said, "Hey, some friends of mine need somebody to sing a hook for them. Can you do it?" "Yeah, sure." So I got with them, and they were doing this hip hop thing, and I was like, "Okay, I can sing a hook." And they molded me. They took every bit of stage fright I ever had. First time I ever performed at the Macon City Auditorium, I stood in the back of the stage with my head down and the mic and sang just like this. Didn't move, didn't dance, didn't look up, just like that. After that performance, I walked into their apartment and said, "That is the last time you ever get on a stage and do that, ever." He said, "If we have to record a new song and perform it the next day, you're gonna do that." And that's what we did. We wrote a song, I sang a hook, we went to a club and did it the next day. And I broke myself out of that just by pattern. Stopped singing again. Started doing theater. Jim Crisp gave me a role at Theater Macon, and after that I did Les Mis. And I was like, oh, I kind of like theater, so I'll just use this as my way of singing. Did theater, and then met Brad Evans and asked me to do radio and asked me to sing at the 11th Hour Awards. And that kind of set everything to me emotionally, because everything started to roll at that point. I got to do my first brag jam and all of that. So I've been singing all of my life, but I haven't been singing all of my life.
Right.
It was something I could do.
Yeah.
I can sing, yeah.
Well, I remember when Matt and I, we were at the Creek doing promoting one of the other concerts.
Yeah.
And he starts singing, and Matt and I looked and we're like, "What are you doing next February?"
Exactly how it was. Exactly how it was.
We were working on the Ray Charles show,
Yeah.
Which was the following season. That's the problem with us, is everything books so far out. We're like, "What are you doing next February? You and Kim want to sing?"
Yeah.
Because
that's how that happened.
We'd heard
Yeah.
Kim before.
God.
I think Kim had done some. I can't remember now, but I think I met Kim before you.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyway, and Matt and I were just like, because he had heard Kim through me, and then I was like, we need to have the two of them on the Ray Charles
And they
show.
didn't know that I'd known that girl for over 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had been singing together
Yeah.
forever. So it just, everything melded really cool.
So, but that was a perfect opportunity. Like he was between commercial breaks, and he opened up his mouth, and Matt and I were like, "Yo,
Like, wow.
excuse me."
Like I said, music has always been one of those things, like I said, that I can do. And like I said, there were thoughts. I thought I got close. I thought at one point I was this close to singing at the Rockefeller Christmas party, and Jay-Z was going to be there. And that got snatched away, and I fell back. It's like, yeah, I guess this music thing really ain't supposed to happen. And I was working for Best Buy, and I was going to work my way up the corporate ladder and be a manager or somewhere in corporate. And I guess somebody else had other plans.
Yeah.
And my friend Ashley said, "No, you ought to." A friend of mine is having some auditions, and he needs some black actors. And I told him, "You're going to come. So you got an audition at 7:30. Okay. And fork in the road happened at that point.
Yeah, it's funny how the business
Yeah.
works that way.
Yeah.
But for me, I always use, because I've had a couple of really big moments, that same thing, like.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah.
But I use it as fuel. Like I get mad, and I use it. I turn it into, oh no, I'm going to show you. Like I'm going to use that to make sure I'm successful.
Well, it took me a second, because a couple times where it happened, I fell into, oh, okay, I guess you're not good enough. I guess you're not supposed to do that. And
Right.
I fell off, and I put it back on the back burner. And then it wasn't maybe until recently where I was like, no, this is something that's been in you your entire life.
Right.
You've tried to do other things, you've liked them, but for some reason, this always comes back up, and you keep pushing it back. Stop pushing it back. Maybe you weren't ready then. Maybe that wasn't your time, and that's really how I look at it now.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't your time. Maybe you weren't physically, mentally ready to take on what you're going to have to deal with if this is the way you're going to go about it. And I had to go through doing some theater and doing radio and auditioning for Hamilton and doing all that to go, okay, that's it. this is what you need to be doing now.
Yeah.
That's where your focus needs
And
to
it's
be.
good because it also reaffirms your passion and knowing, even though there's hardships, but that's going to be in any field.
In anything.
So what's next for you now? Like what's your next big opportunity?
At this moment, let's see. Did the Hamilton audition? Haven't heard anything back from that. If I do, thank God. If I don't, oh well. New York did what New York was supposed to do for me. I am waiting currently. I had the opportunity to meet this great band, the Warren Treaty. Became friends with them while I was doing work at the radio station. Had the opportunity to open up for them once when they were here last month. Had the opportunity to sing with them. They offered me an opportunity to do some background vocals on their next album. I said yes, 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 yes. And so that is kind of in the horizon. Should be starting on that sometime next couple weeks.
Where at? Where you guys
in Nashville.
Nice.
They're recording in Nashville, so I'll be bouncing back and forth between here and Nashville. Some other things are happening that I can't talk about at the moment, but it's really, really, really cool. And yeah, it's something that should be really, really good. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it. I'm itching to talk about it, but I can't.
Nah, it's all good.
We'll have a part 2.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh, trust me. No.
And just know if if you need a drummer,
Steve, don't play with me. Steve, see, you do stuff like that, and when I call the phone, it'd be like, "Hey,
no,
I need you, bro."
Hey, I'll be like, "Look, if I'm not on the road, I'll be there, man."
No, man. It's I will say this. It's something I want to do all my life, and now it seems like it's right there.
Yeah.
And I think I can actually touch this one.
Good.
And grab a hold to it and see where it goes, and it's gonna be good, man. Life is good. I'm humble and blessed.
I can't think of anyone more deserving, and I'm when you blow up, I'm happy that Macon Pops had a small little role in it just don't charge us $5 million next time we need
As
you
I've told you before, and I will tell you again, Steve, if you need me, and I have to differentiate, if you need me,
don't send me to your publicist.
You need me, call me, man. Y'all are that. The thing about this, I've realized I haven't been in the music business before, but I think I know how people like to be treated, and I think if you treat people the right way, things happen.
Absolutely.
And so, no, you ain't got to worry about that, baby. You good.
Okay, good. Because we're not profit, man. We don't have much money. So.
Nah, bro, call me. I got you. Call me.
No, well, listen, this has been great to talk to you, and I think it's time we need to hear you sing. How about that?
Yeah, I guess we can do that now. Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's do it.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you wanna be me. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you wanna be me. I'm not trying to be your hero, 'cause that zero is too cold for me. I'm not trying to be your highness, 'cause that minus is too low to see. Alright, yeah. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing, and I'm not stuffing, believe in me. Don't you remember I told ya I'm a soldier in the war on poverty? Alright, yeah. Mr. J. Hanson. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you want
That works. All right. Cool. That was the harder one out the way.
Right.
Damn right. Now I can just get all of my feelings real quick. Jesus. Okay. No, because this song is taking on a new meaning to me now. I've sang this song all of my life, like all of my life.
Yeah.
And past couple months, this song means so much totally different to me now. So yeah.
I love that song. I love this next song too. You're doing Hallelujah, right?
No, I'm doing a song for you from Donny Hathaway.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a song I did for my voice audition that they didn't pick me for. That's fine.
Whatever. We know that.
Yes, okay, but yeah. So yeah, this one. Yeah, I love singing this song.
Okay. Oh, good. Okay, let me get my video ready.
All right. I've been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs and I've made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life on stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I treated you unkindly, but darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. Baby, can't you see through me? 'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing a song for you. You told me precious secrets of a true love was holding nothing. You came out in front, and I was hiding. But now I'm so much better, and if my words don't come together, just listen to the melody, 'cause my love is in there hiding. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life, you're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember when we were together. 'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing a song for you. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life, you're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember when we were together. 'Cause we were alone, and I'm singing the song to you. We were alone, and I'm singing this song.